Jenny Handley, curator and editor of the annual JHP Gourmet Guide with its plate ratings, and editor of our bi-monthly Gourmet Guide magazine. In Plates and Palates, we take you behind the scenes to secret spots and to meet the chefs and personalities who make this industry such an exciting place. Today I'm chatting to Marcus Gericke of Urchin restaurant, who is a previous winner of the S.Pellegrino Young Chef Award. So welcome to the show and very belated congratulations.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it feels like an eternity ago, but we'll take it.
So that was in 2019?
Correct, yeah. Then COVID happened, so then it got delayed. We were supposed to fly, then it never happened. Then it was delayed till 2021, so it took a long time for us to get there, but we were happy to be there, obviously, as the little South African contingent that we were.
Well, perfection is never an overnight success story, and I know you are a perfectionist. But I thought it would be very interesting to get a little bit of behind-the-scenes information about how the competition worked and what it actually did for you as a chef.
So I entered a lot of competitions before the Sanpan competition. I think that helped me sort of just stabilize and figure out what I wanted to do as a chef. It also makes you think on your feet, where with the S.Pellegrino competition, now it's changed in the sense where you make your one dish, you have everything with you, you understand what you're going to do, you have your time frames, and you're kind of more in control ever than before in a competition. And that definitely gave me a huge boost in that sense, because I was so used to the chaos of a mystery basket, or something going wrong, or the oven doesn't work, or they forgot to buy a freezer for the event, or something like that. So this was a lot more sort of focused, put together, and then you could talk about a dish that really meant something to you. So I always tell anybody that always asks for advice, make sure your story speaks volumes, because that's the first thing they see. It's the first thing they read. When you make it through to that regional finals, all those guys are amazing chefs. So you're cooking probably against the best in your region. So it's not going to come down to whose food tasted the best, because all of that food is really difficult to pull apart at the end of the day. Everybody has done so much work in it. So your story and why you cook that certain food is pretty much your surroundings of what it is.
So your story, Marcus, how did your dish, which we want to hear all about, how did that tell your story? What was the dish and what was the connection?
Yeah, my dish was called Remembrance, and it wasn't actually over a dish that we've ever worked on before. So it started off as a chicken dish with my dad, and we used to play around with it sort of in the background, sort of on holidays or weekends. And when the S.Pellegrino competition came around, I actually worked with somebody who said, "You'll never make this competition, you're not good enough." And I was like, all right, challenge accepted. And I put that one on the back burner.
I'll show you.
Exactly.
Yes.
And just sort of put the whole idea together. And I was like, you know what, I'm not going to do it with chicken. It's too big. It's a bit bulky. And I rather want to go down a smaller version of it. And we ended up using quail. But we kept the whole idea of what it was. So the whole dish was, I was taught to do this dish with chicken. And this is kind of where the flavor profiles were. I've elevated it and taken it to the quail dish, and the idea was this is the first time I've done a dish without his help. And then I had an amazing mentor in Candice Phillip, who joined me for that ride and actually really made that dish something phenomenal at the end of the day.
I have no doubt, and amazing that you'd be paying tribute to your dad, to your late dad, and to Candice, who's also a phenomenal chef. It's wonderful. So I think that's the background story of this competition. It's never about producing a dish. It's about the relationships that are forged. I've been to a few of them, and I'm always quite emotional when I witness the connection between people, how the contestants help one another. But most importantly, I think it's giving young chefs an opportunity to grow, to choose a mentor, to practice, but to grow in confidence more than anything. So what did the competition do for you as a person?
I think it just exposed me to a little bit more of the reality of cooking, because obviously at that stage I was only really used to sort of South Africa, and I'd just gotten back from the United States. So it allowed me to sort of get involved in the European market. So we all went through to Milan. That was an amazing opportunity as well. Seeing what they do, and I ate risotto in like 20 different forms, which was amazing. But that's what it's about. I think meeting all those people, those are connections that, I mean, this is almost 7 years ago that we are still talking to, that are still part of it, that still follow, that have actually been to Journey here at the Urchin restaurant. And for me, that's incredible. It's that camaraderie that never leaves, which makes it really fascinating as well.
No, I think there's a community of chefs, and when everybody works together, everybody grows. So the competition, that is one of the aims. It's to grow young talent, to give them that exposure. And I think to have to perform under pressure, you do it every day in your own kitchen, but to have to do it at a competition level when the eyes of the world are on you is very good for growing your confidence.
No, for sure. And I think it also just puts that spotlight that is needed on especially the South African chefs. I think Africa is a great nation and has a lot of flavor profiles, but we see it year in and year out. The South African guys really come with fire. There's normally more than 6 in every regional competition, and it just showcases the strength that we have in the country as well. So, and I think it's time that South African food made it onto that platform as well.
I think that too, but also you're going back to your first point where the dish has got to tell a story. In Africa, we've got such heartfelt, authentic stories to tell, and to do that through food and to showcase to the world what we can do is also, it's an ambassadorial role that you play.
No, for sure. And at the end of the day, we have amazing ingredients in the country as well. So telling the story becomes a lot easier with the great produce that we have. So luckily, I've been allowed to travel the world a little bit more, and seeing our produce in other countries, you get to realize actually how powerful our country is when it comes to all fresh ingredients as well. So yeah, to tell that story on the global stage just makes it even more better.
No, it's a great opportunity. So what would your advice be to young chefs considering entering the competition this year?
Go for it. Don't even think about it. It's a great opportunity. And yeah, just make sure your story is aligned. Make sure it comes from the heart, because if you're cooking from the heart, it's always going to showcase on the plate. And enjoy it. It's 5 hours of your life that you will never get back, and that builds friendships and foundations for the future.
That's amazing. And I love to hear that you're now on the other side, that you've got young chefs approaching you and saying, will you mentor me for the competition? So I think there's also that, you go in as a fledgling and you have the experience, and then people recognize your ability, because I think technical precision was such a big part of your win, and you showcase that in what you do every day. And that's what the younger chefs can learn too.
100%. And I think what makes it really more interesting as well is seeing their ideas, and I can position where I was in their career at that stage and be like, okay, I know what they're trying to do, but you need a little bit more precision here, or you actually just need to withdraw it, like you're doing too much, just take some of it back. And I think that's always nice as well, to be able to be in that role, not changing the dish, but just helping them get the best out of it.
And encouraging them all the way.
Correct.
It's amazing to watch that mentor-mentee relationship in the kitchen. When the heat is on, the young chefs look to their mentors for so much support. And
yeah, at the end of the day, that's
invaluable.
all you got. Yeah. When it's those 5 hours go, there's nobody else helping you. So it does make a huge difference.
But I think the competition lives with you forever. I think that's
sure.
also something to encourage young chefs. You think of it as a once-off competition, but it's part of your pedigree, it's part of your trajectory, and it's part of your journey. So, Marcus, you're now in another journey. Tell me about Journey at Urchin.
Yeah, so I got this incredible opportunity from the owners of the Hyatt, and they approached me and said, look, we've got the space. It's standing open at the moment. If we gave it to you, what would you do with it? And I was like, okay, this is a weird interview, but let's take it from there and go from there. And I said, you know what, if we're going to talk about something, let's talk about South African food on a global scale. Let's try and never leave the borders of the South African sort of idea. And then the owner said, we'd like to challenge you even further. Can you do it in the Western Cape and never leave the Western Cape borders? And I said, that's quite an interesting dynamic. Let's see what we can do and let's push it. So I had an idea for a menu. They said, okay, cool, go test it. Take a road trip, do the little road trip map that you think you've got in your head, and stop at the places, take pictures of around you of what you see, go to your suppliers, get your inspiration, and come together with the menu. So we started off with a 9-course menu, which was really incredible. We got great feedback over it for the last 6 months, and we've just recently changed it now to an 11-course journey. And we've added a couple of dishes, but the 2 dishes that I'll be doing for you today is the 2 that actually stayed on, that I think if I ever change, I will probably get shouted at. It's one of those that have become our classics in such a short time.
Well, classics, I love that, because chefs hate to be told that they've got a signature dish, but when it's so firmly entrenched in the hearts of the diner, that's where it stays.
Funnily enough, when I put those 2 on, I was like, I think I'm going to get the most stick for these 2. And these are the 2 that have actually shone a little bit brighter than the rest. So it's funny how things work.
Wonderful. So we're going to have a quick glass of S.Pellegrino, and then we're going to dash into the kitchen.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
And cheers to your
Cheers.
journey.
Thank you.
Okay, this is the best part of my job. I'm about to dive in. Marcus is all about bread. He's got a long relationship with his starter dough, Peter, who I've met before. But now I'm going to have this delectable looking piece of bread. Tell me what I'm having, Marcus.
So we did a little trip to Stellenbosch. We found a hotel/restaurant there called Lanzerac. They have the oldest recorded bread recipe in the country, and we found a little bit of inspiration, and we combined it with a sort of idea that I learned from when I was really young. So it's a brown bread kind of idea that we use with our sourdough. We've then got a really amazing relish at the bottom. So it starts off as a sort of jam that we all know as Mrs. Ball's chutney.
Oh, yes.
And we found a way then to incorporate it with a little bit of carrots, onions, garlic, and ginger. And then we have our honey butter shaped in the urchin. And again, it just completes the story of our name. It completes the idea of bringing a little bit of Stellenbosch again back to the plate by using that honey. And the honey that we get is this really clear honey, and that's why it allows me to keep that butter really nice and bright yellow. The butter is also homemade here in the kitchen, which is amazing as well.
And I have to say, Mrs. Balls would be very proud of you.
100%.
Absolutely.
100%.
Delicious.
We have it all over in our kitchens and stuff. So we showcase it as proudly as possible.
Beautiful. And your dessert?
The milk tart's something that I think we've become synonymous for. So what we decided to do with it is we had to find the golden thread. Every culture obviously has the best recipe. So we had to find a way not to upset everybody, but try and find this really amazing way of talking about it. What we found out in that time frame is that the sort of baked milk tarts are definitely the best flavorful ones, but the set ones are the best textural ones. So what we do is we bake that milk tart off the bat. We use a milk tart recipe, but we use the Bass cheesecake method of cooking it. So it comes out really nice and brown on the top, sinks in slightly towards the end, and then we blend it right away. As we blend it, we fold into a creme pat, so pretty much the sort of starch base that you would use to make that set milk tarts, and then we set it in the puzzle piece. And the story is that you're the last piece of the South African journey to become part of it. And then we roche, instead of just doing some cinnamon sugar on top, what we've done is roche a pear and cinnamon sorbet, and then we finish it off with a little bit of honeycomb on the top.
Oh, okay. Let's go. You can leave me now. Marcus, thank you for your inspiration, for sharing your story and encouraging all the young chefs to enter S.Pellegrino Young Chef Award.
Huge pleasure.
Thank you.